The history of English nightclubs is a fascinating one, reflecting both the cultural evolution of the country and the changing social dynamics over time. Nightclubs, as we know them today, have evolved from a variety of influences, ranging from the rise of jazz, rock, and dance music to technological innovations and shifts in nightlife culture. Here's a detailed biography of English nightclubs, spanning their origins to their modern-day presence. The origins of nightclubs in England can be traced back to the early 20th century, when the idea of leisure and entertainment began to shift. Before the term nightclub was coined, there were venues like music halls, cabaret shows, and jazz clubs that catered to the growing middle class's desire for evening entertainment. Jazz clubs, 1920s to 1930s, the 1920s, saw the rise of jazz and dance bands in England, often performed in clubs in London and other major cities. Jazz was a revolutionary genre in the UK, and it gave birth to the modern nightclub atmosphere. These clubs were typically small, intimate spaces with live music, dancing, and sophisticated cocktails. The most iconic venues during this time were often associated with the bright lights of the West End, where clubs like the Cotton Club catered to a wealthy clientele. Post-World War II clubs, 1940s to 1950s, the post-war period in England saw a surge in socializing. Traditional forms of entertainment, like pubs, started evolving into spaces that provided more energetic nightlife. The rise of ballroom dancing, jive, and swing music also helped shape the early forms of the modern nightclub. 2. The rise of nightclubs, 1960s to 1970s. 1960s to 1970s. The 1960s saw a more radical shift in music and culture. The mod movement, British invasion, and the rise of rock and roll led to the development of nightclubs that catered to youth culture. This period is often regarded as the golden age of nightclubs in the UK, especially in cities like London, Manchester, and Liverpool. Clubs began to cater to young people seeking an alternative to the traditional ballroom-style venues. The Beatles and the Cavern Club, 1960s. The iconic Cavern Club in Liverpool is a key milestone in the history of English nightclubs. Though it was initially a jazz club, it became famous as the birthplace of the Beatles. The venue was crucial in introducing rock music to the mainstream British youth culture. The club was an essential meeting point for music lovers and a stepping stone for many rock bands who later became famous. Discotheques in the 1970s nightlife boom. By the 1970s, English nightlife had evolved further, and the term discotheque was increasingly used to describe places where people could dance to recorded music. The disco era, which was heavily influenced by the American nightclub scene, made its mark in the UK as well. Iconic nightclubs like Studio 54 in New York had a direct impact on clubs in the UK, with the rising popularity of electronic music and DJs. In the UK, venues like the Blitz Club in London became hotspots for the emerging new romantic movement, an influence on the city's fashion and music scene. Clubs also became an important part of the growing clubbing culture, with discos playing a key role in late-night culture. 3. The electronic dance revolution, 1980s to 1990s. The acid house and rave scene, 1980s to 1990s. The 1980s to 1990s marked the golden era of electronic dance music in the UK. The advent of house music, techno, and acid house had a profound impact on British club culture. The iconic Second Summer of Love in 1988 is often credited as the moment when electronic dance music, EDM, took over British clubs. London, Manchester, and other major cities saw the explosion of rave culture, where underground warehouse parties and illegal raves became a part of the nightlife scene. Clubs such as the Hacienda in Manchester and Ministry of Sound in London were at the forefront of this shift, playing host to pioneering DJs like Carl Cox, Pete Tong, and Sasha. Acid House and the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act 1994. The growth of the rave culture, especially in illegal warehouses, led to government intervention with the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act of 1994, which sought to control the spread of unlicensed raves. Despite this, the 1990s saw a further explosion of commercial and underground clubs in the UK as dance music grew in popularity and became more mainstream. 4. The commercialization and modern era, 2000s to 2020s. Clubbing becomes mainstream. 2000s. By the early 2000s, clubbing was an established part of British social life. Clubs like Fabric in London, the Warehouse Project in Manchester, and the Queen of Hoxton in Shoreditch became known for their world-class sound systems, top-tier DJs, and cutting-edge design. The UK's clubbing culture was now centered around electronic dance music genres like techno, house, and drum and bass. Nightclubs and technology. The 2000s and 2010s also saw the rise of technology in nightclubs, such as improved sound systems, lighting, and digital ticketing. Social media and platforms like Instagram and Snapchat changed how clubs marketed themselves, making nightclubs more accessible to a broader audience. Iconic venues today. Some of the most famous and influential nightclubs in England today include Fabric, London, a legendary nightclub known for its world-class sound system and hosting some of the biggest names in techno, house, and drum and bass. Ministry of Sound, London, another iconic venue. It has maintained its position as a leading clubbing destination for electronic music lovers. The Warehouse Project, Manchester, a famous venue that regularly hosts large-scale parties and festivals. Printworks, London, a stunning industrial venue that has become synonymous with some of the most significant underground electronic music events. Motion, Bristol, known for its industrial warehouse vibe and one of the best sound systems in the UK. Impact of COVID-19. The COVID-19 pandemic, which caused global lockdowns and social distancing measures in 2020, had a huge impact on the nightlife industry. Clubs were forced to close for extended periods, and many struggled to stay afloat. However, there was a resurgence in 2022 to 2023 as the demand for live music and large-scale parties returned. 5. Key factors shaping the nightclub industry. Music genres and innovation. The music played in clubs has always been a defining feature, evolving from jazz and swing to rock and roll, disco, acid house, and EDM. Each era's music reflected the social and cultural mood, with clubbing becoming increasingly linked to the exploration of new musical styles. Design and atmosphere. The design of nightclubs has become more innovative, with many clubs offering immersive experiences. Spaces have gone from simple dance floors to elaborate venues with impressive sound systems, lighting, and art installations. Celebrity culture. In the 2000s and beyond, nightclubs have become closely associated with celebrity culture. London's Café de Paris and Chiltern Firehouse are known for attracting the rich and famous, and these venues have become hotspots for the A-list crowd. Licensing and regulation. The rise of nightclubs has also been accompanied by increasing regulation. Licensing laws, noise complaints, and public order issues have meant that nightclubs are closely monitored by local authorities. In some areas, the licensing of venues has become an issue of contention. 6. The future of nightclubs. As nightclubs continue to evolve, the future may see further innovation driven by technology, especially virtual reality (VR) and augmented reality (AR). Some clubs are experimenting with using VR to create immersive experiences for clubgoers. Meanwhile, the global rise of festivals, as well as the integration of live streaming and online events, means that the line between physical and digital spaces in nightlife is becoming increasingly blurred. Nightclubs in England will continue to play a key role in both music culture and social life, adapting to the changing times while keeping the spirit of dance, music, and socializing alive. 7. The role of nightclubs in modern culture, 2020s and beyond. As we progress into the 2020s, nightclubs in England continue to adapt and respond to shifts in societal, technological, and cultural trends. They remain at the forefront of urban culture, offering a unique blend of entertainment, socialization, and innovation. The rise of subcultures and diverse music styles. Subcultures and alternative nightlife. In recent years, there has been a renewed focus on niche clubbing subcultures. For example, the rise of alternative electronic music genres, such as dubstep, grime, and techno, continues to shape nightlife in cities like London, Manchester, and Bristol. Clubs like Corsica Studios in London and Thekla in Bristol have catered to these alternative genres, offering spaces for underground movements and experimental sounds. Inclusive spaces and diversity. The demand for more inclusive environments has grown, with many nightclubs making conscious efforts to create spaces for people of all backgrounds, regardless of gender, sexuality, race, or socioeconomic status. Clubs like the South Bank Centre's Late Night Sessions and Heaven in London have become known for their LGBTQ+ friendly atmospheres, which aim to offer a welcoming environment for everyone. Techno and progressive house dominate. The 2020s have seen the dominance of techno, progressive house, and minimal tech in clubs, with an increasing emphasis on high-quality sound systems and immersive visual art. Venues like Fabric, Printworks, and E1 London continue to be pillars in this scene, hosting world-renowned DJs and underground talents who specialize in these genres. Integration of technology and the metaverse. Digital clubbing and virtual reality. VR, the influence of technology in nightlife is undeniable, with many clubs embracing digital innovations such as augmented reality, AR, and virtual reality VR. Some nightclubs now offer virtual reality spaces where people can attend live DJ sets or events remotely, an option that gained popularity during the COVID-19 pandemic. Examples: virtual platforms like Second Life and events hosted in VR environments, such as those on Twitch or Clubhouse's virtual meetups, have paved the way for clubs to experiment with hybrid models, combining physical and virtual experiences. For instance, Printworks and Fabric have partnered with digital artists and VR companies to enhance clubbing experiences with VR installations and live-stream DJ performances. Advanced sound and lighting technology. Advanced sound technology, like the use of immersive LISA sound systems, allows for high-quality, spatially accurate audio experiences. The sound system technology in nightclubs has evolved, enabling fans to feel the music as much as hear it. The use of projection mapping, LED visuals, and interactive lighting is now common in most modern nightclubs, enhancing the atmosphere and offering unique visual experiences. Blockchain and NFTs in nightlife. A relatively new trend, blockchain technology and non-fungible tokens, NFTs, are being explored in the nightclub industry. Some venues and events have begun selling tickets as NFTs, which offer exclusive benefits like access to VIP areas, memorabilia, and special content. The concept of using NFT tickets has also sparked debates about security, digital ownership, and access in the clubbing world. Sustainability and ethical practices in nightclubs. As environmental concerns continue to dominate global discussions, the clubbing scene in the UK has also turned its attention to sustainability and eco-friendly practices. Many nightclubs are incorporating green practices, including energy-efficient lighting and sound systems. Many clubs are adopting energy-saving LED lights and sound systems that use less power without compromising on quality. Sustainable bar practices. The increasing demand for ethically sourced and organic beverages has influenced many clubs to prioritize sustainable alcohol sourcing. Bars and drink suppliers have also embraced eco-friendly packaging, reducing single-use plastics. Waste reduction. Several venues are actively reducing waste by focusing on recycling programs, eliminating plastic straws, and cutting down on food waste. These initiatives are growing in importance as younger generations push for environmental responsibility in all aspects of life, including nightlife. 8. Challenges facing English nightclubs. Despite their ongoing innovation, English nightclubs face a variety of challenges in the modern age. Rising operational costs. The cost of running a nightclub in cities like London and Manchester has increased significantly over the years. This includes rising rents, high energy bills, and labor costs. Some clubs have struggled to stay afloat, with smaller venues especially feeling the financial pinch. For example, Fabric and Ministry of Sound are constantly under pressure from rising overheads, despite their iconic status. Licensing and regulations. Nightclubs in England are governed by a variety of regulations related to alcohol licensing, noise control, and security measures. Many venues have had to adjust to stricter regulations, especially in terms of closing times, noise levels, and local government enforcement. These regulations often conflict with the desires of clubgoers who want late-night parties. Local councils in areas like Camden and Shoreditch, for example, are often more cautious about granting late-night licenses, fearing that they may lead to disturbances in the surrounding neighborhoods. As a result, some venues have faced pressure to close or restrict their hours of operation. Gentrification and the decline of traditional clubs. Another challenge is gentrification, especially in major cities like London and Manchester. As neighborhoods become more commercialized and upscale, many clubs are being displaced by rising rents and the growing appeal of luxury apartment complexes or office buildings. Iconic clubs like the Cross in King's Cross and the End in London have closed due to gentrification pressures. This trend has sparked debates about the cultural loss of nightlife and the importance of preserving authentic, grassroots venues that cater to the underground scene. Competition from festivals and alternative experiences. In recent years, there has been growing competition from music festivals, which offer many of the same experiences as nightclubs, such as world-class DJ performances and high-energy party environments. Festivals like Glastonbury, Parklife, and Creamfields have become viable alternatives to regular club nights. Some clubbers prefer the festival environment for its outdoor atmosphere, multiple music stages, and extended duration. Furthermore, pop-up events and immersive thematic club nights, such as secret raves or immersive theater experiences, offer alternative ways to experience nightlife, putting pressure on traditional clubs to adapt and find new ways of staying relevant.